That's fine.
Dan tried to.
Oh, no, he's.
Yeah, okay.
Dan's supposed to be the guy.
Yep. Okay. Call the meeting to order. Everybody's present and accounted for this afternoon. Start with the invocation. And then the flag salute for flag salute. Sir, could you do that for us?
Absolutely.
And Commissioner Waddell? Not Waddell. No.
All right.
But I know you're gonna do.
You can't stand it.
For everyone, bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you for allowing us to see this day. We thank you for waking us up this morning and watching over us all night long. Lord, we just pray that you bless this meeting. You bless every intent of the hearts of everyone that's in this meeting. Lord, we thank you that we don't have any extremely bad news in Enid, Oklahoma. Lord, we thank you for the weather. We thank you for allowing us to be here. And we're just asking that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and show us exactly what we need to do. And Lord, we just want to thank you for all things. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item number 4, consider approval of minutes of the regular commission meeting of August 6, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, corrections? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 5, awards, presentations, proclamations, and organizational business. Item 5.1, present pet available for adoption at the city animal shelter. Pretty dog.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Charlotte Ringwald. I'm the Animal Adoption Coordinator at Enid Animal Control. And tonight, my buddy here is Phoenix. Phoenix is in pen 32. He is a 2-year-old, we guess to be a mini Aussie Shepherd mix. He is very sweet and smart, and I just found out he likes babies. So he also likes car rides. So if you're looking for a new best friend or somebody to add to your family, we have Phoenix here. We have lots of really great dogs available at the shelter, and we also have cats. We always have cats. So you guys stop by the shelter and see some of our animals and maybe meet your new best friend. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. All right, item 5.2, Main Street Enid presentation to the city of Enid.
Yes, Mayor, if you would come on down and join us, please. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners, Mr. Gilbert, ladies and gentlemen. We have Buffy Hughes once again with us, the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Main Street Center from Oklahoma City. Buffy, come on up, please, along with Kelly Tompkins from Main Street Enid, and they're here to present a couple plaques to the mayor. So, Buffy, you're on television, big smile. It's high definition, bigger smile.
That's great.
But thank you for coming up. There's the mayor.
Yeah, it's been a great day in Enid. I've been touring downtown and working with some of your local merchants on some design work on the interior. So I'm Buffy Hughes, again, Executive Director of the Oklahoma Main Street Center with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. And one thing that we do is we give out $1 million awards for private reinvestment in the downtown Enid Historical District. And so I want to thank the city and you, Mayor, as well as Roxanne, Natalie, and Kelly for your partnership and your investment in downtown. So here is, you guys have done a really great job. Here is a $50 million award as well as a $55 million award. So, all right.
For you too.
Yours.
Yeah, I was just
They have their own set.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
thank you.
Kelly?
Thank you for
Thank you.
your, that is private reinvestment. That didn't even count all that you all have put into downtown. So that shows how much confidence there is in our historic district. So thank
Alrighty.
you.
Good. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Kelly. Good job.
All right, item number 6, administration. Item number 6.1, consider resolution supporting continued participation in Main Street programs.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Please cast your ballot. Motion carries 7-0. Item 6.2, an ordinance amending the Enid Municipal Code 2014, Title 5, Public Safety, Chapter 5, General Offenses, Article 8, Section 5-5H-1, Drugs and Related Substances, to provide when person in possession of marijuana without a license may be released upon their own recognizance, provide the legal quantities of marijuana for patient and caregiver licenses under Oklahoma laws, providing for repealer, savings clause, severability, codification, and declaring an emergency. Carol?
Well, there are changes to the law that go into effect August 29th or August 30th. And that's why we're bringing this to you. One thing that perhaps is kind of complicated is there's a very precise set of circumstances where a person who is in possession of marijuana and does not have the state-issued license on their person would not be subject to arrest. It's not everybody. It's someone who only has up to 1.5 ounces of marijuana, who also states a medical condition and provides the pertinent information so that the police will know that the identity of the person, and a person who has not had a very bad history of not showing up and also is not subject to arrest on another violation. There will be people that meet that, but it's really important for anyone who has a state-issued medical marijuana license to keep it on their person, particularly when they have the product or their medicine with them. That's the big difference. I also added the quantities that are legally, you may legally possess if you have a state-issued medical marijuana license. And I note that the state law now makes clear that those amounts are cumulative. And in order for it to become law before or at the same time as the state law passes, we need an emergency which requires 6 votes in the affirmative.
On section C3, is the marijuana confiscated at the time the citation is issued?
At this time, yes.
Why? If it's legal and they're just getting a citation, why do we confiscate it?
Commissioner, it'd be just like anything else. It would be evidence of a crime. It is still a crime under this ordinance and under state law.
Well, I mean, it's a citation. I mean, it's a relatively small citation even.
Okay, I would try to equate it with, say, open bottle, open container, open alcohol. We don't.
Do we confiscate the container?
Yes.
Every time? Okay.
Yes.
And we wouldn't have the product to test through the field test so that we would know that it was the product.
I guess it's never more than 1.5 ounces under this, is it?
Correct.
Here's what I hate the idea of. I hate the idea of confiscating somebody's medicine because they don't have their card on them. That bothers me on some.
Commissioner, if they don't have their card, and I'm going to guess, this is still new. A lot of people will have a picture of their card on their phone.
Yeah.
We can still run the number.
Okay.
Whether it be on a computer or through our dispatch, and it will say whether that is a valid number or not.
If you have the number on you.
Now, it is better to have a picture of your card than just
Yes.
the number, because then they can match it up. If you just have the number, I believe that the site that you're checking on just tells you whether it's valid or not. So obviously, like 15 people could have the same number, borrowing it. So if you're gonna rely on your phone, you need to have your picture ID that's on the marijuana license.
Right.
So that they can make sure that you are who you say you are.
But we have, you know, if we have somebody, a little old lady who doesn't carry a cell phone and left her card at home, and we're confiscating her medicine, and on some level that seems unnecessary with this, as small a matter as this.
There is always officer discretion whether to ticket someone or not.
Sure. And I would certainly hope that our officers are not being unduly, overly difficult with this one.
Commissioner, this whole law, you know, it's a brave new world, and I get it. You know, everybody, you all might, I'm the police chief, and I'm totally against this. I'm not, because I do believe it has some value. But until they change the law, we're going to follow the law.
Well, no, but I mean, this is an ordinance that.
And I understand what you're saying. I don't want to confiscate something, you know, but we have no choice in it.
Well, but do we have a choice if the ordinance stated that the marijuana would not be confiscated at the time of the citation? Would that violate state law, Carol? I thought there was some ambiguity there, and this one was.
State law is moot on it.
There are issues. For instance, if we don't confiscate it, then they, you know, then they could be stopped a second time and a third time. And what we're hoping is that the federal government will take it off of the schedule that it is on, so that then they could come in and prove up that it's theirs and we could give it back to them. But having it be on that particular schedule of drug, that makes it difficult once the police have it in their custody.
Yeah, no, I understand we can't, under federal law, we can't give it back. But if, for instance, this provision that's underlined, this C13 stated, and upon first offense, upon citation, the marijuana shall not be confiscated by law enforcement officer. That one violates state law or federal law, right?
State law is mute on it. So
Right, and so if state law is silent on it, we have some discretion there.
There is discretion, but then how would, I mean, one of the things is how would we prove up that it was marijuana? What happens if he gets arrested later? Or for instance, we let him leave with his marijuana, and then 5 hours later, his child is brought in for having ingested too much marijuana, which has been happening in Oklahoma. I'm not any happier about the problematic nature, but the chief has convinced me that at least for the time being, that's why I have not put down what happens to the marijuana. Because if for instance, one of our district judges say that we need to give it back or not take it, then that's fine. But right now, the law is unclear.
Well, I didn't think even the district judge could tell us we have to give it back, because that's a federal law compliance issue, isn't it, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
so, I mean,
he
Judge
could-
Laddick can't tell us to give it back, because then we're,
And that would be a conundrum for.
right.
Yeah.
But if we don't take it in the first place, then we're fine.
Right. In terms of the custody thing.
Right,
The
and I
question
guess
is then, can we make the case? And
But do we test, when we cite somebody for open container, we don't test that it was actually whiskey? We cite them for open container.
Usually it's pretty obvious that it's whiskey.
And he
beer,
takes
the
it.
container is taken. That's,
Yeah, but do you
pretty
actually
obvious.
test the
No,
container
we
when you
don't.
cite? Yeah,
We won't actually test that,
Right.
because that's going to go through municipal court. Now, with marijuana, we will actually test it. We're not sending it to OSBI. We will actually test it, and those test results be taken to municipal court.
but if it's the equivalent of an open container charge, I mean, you know, why go through all the effort in testing for just a little open container site? And also, if we can avoid taking somebody's medicine on something that petty, then let's not take somebody's medicine.
It's still considered evidence until the laws change. And we have to seize evidence. This law is so new, it's gonna take a while for it to even out.
No, I understand. You guys have to do what the ordinance says,
Right.
but we
And-
don't have to we don't have to say you have to take it.
Right, well, that's what we plan on doing, is seizing it, and then until they take it off, till the Fed takes it off the Schedule 1 CSA. If they ever do that, which, if we can get the government to do anything right now.
No, I understand that, but if the ordinance,
you would address
but
it
if the
different.
ordinance we passed tonight includes the language that the officer shall not seize marijuana when issuing a citation under this provision, then you don't have to take it at all. You're still following the law.
But there is a way for them to have it legally with a card.
Sure.
There's gonna be quite a few people that probably are not gonna have their card with them, or B, don't have a card at all.
Yeah.
So those people are actually violating the law. So they have no right to have that.
But if you put it in, but if you put,
when somebody's caught without their license.
but if you put it in the ordinance that the people that are qualified under 1C would not be arrested and they would not have their marijuana seized, then I'm sure that the police will follow what's in the ordinance.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, shoot.
Earl, may I ask you,
yeah,
how many violations does an individual have to have before their license are taken or restricted from them? Is it unlimited violations, or
Okay.
or
As
is there
far
a
as I
number?
know, it's unlimited.
It's unlimited?
Yes, it's not like a concealed carry license where, you have violations and lose that. It's an unlimited violation as far as I know.
in terms
just for
of
a-
people with,
Because all it said,
It's
because
all
all
it-
the violation is possessing it without your card on you.
Right.
And so, if you just forget your card all the time and get
Or if-
cited all the time, you still have the license.
Or Commissioner, if you don't have a card and
That too.
and you are just committing.
But the
crime.
question is what to lose your license, and if you
Well-
don't have the card in the first place, you don't have anything to lose.
okay, and right, you don't have anything to lose, and we're not
But
talking
money.
about a driver's license.
Money.
Money
Yeah, you're gonna lose money.
and the illegal product. Okay, you have many choices. The other thing I suppose you could do is you could just repeal all the marijuana ordinance altogether. But,
Until the state got theirs in order?
Well, we basically mirror state law now, right, Carol? We basically just take the state ordinances and mirror them in,
exactly, that is exactly what I did.
which is,
Which does, and of course, as far as I know, no one thought about whether or not they were gonna take the marijuana or any of these.
yeah, and I'm happy to mirror
Issues.
state law, but when there's looks to me like an ambiguity in what we're allowed to do, I kind of like to defer to letting people keep things. I would, whether we get a second or not, let's see. I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance, but I'd like to add language that in the event of a citation under section C3 of this ordinance, that an officer shall not confiscate the product.
That would be going against. Medication.
Nope, sorry, shall not confiscate the medication. No, it doesn't go against state law because state law is silent on this. There's an ambiguity. And when there's an ambiguity, we've got room to make the ordinance.
Are they required to carry their card with them when they have that? If they don't have the card, then they're out of compliance.
Yeah, but some people forget, and let's not,
I know,
be too
but they
difficult.
gotta have a responsibility also.
And we're gonna go so far as if they have a picture on their phone with their ID.
Right. What I don't wanna do is put the police in a bad situation, and if they can provide a picture of it, let them keep it. But, they've gotta have some responsibility too.
Everybody makes mistakes. I don't want to confiscate somebody's medicine just because they
I
forgot.
made a mistake and paid the ticket before too.
Let me ask you a question.
Is there, this may be really moot. Is there a second to my motion?
Not heard a second.
Let me ask this question first, and then I'll answer. Once it's confiscated, there's no way for them to get it back, correct?
No, it's still on the federal.
I second
Schedule
the
1
motion.
CSA.
Second the motion.
They just lose money. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Recap.
Okay.
My motion is to approve the ordinance, adding language to section C3, which states in the event of a citation under this provision, the officer, nope, sorry.
Still have a $400.
Oh, no, sorry, were you saying no to me, Carol, or no to Brian?
No,
Okay, sorry.
I had a
In the
question.
event if I say,
I had a question.
in the event of a citation under section C3, the officer shall not confiscate the medicine.
That was a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I guess the one thing I'm thinking about is, before we call for the vote, is I understand the old lady that forgot her card and has the medicine. I'm wondering what the percentage of time is. It's somebody that has the marijuana that doesn't have a card at all, and now they're going to be put in a position of, oh yeah, I got a card, it's at home.
Well, shockingly, George, under the state law,
Yeah.
that person still only gets a ticket, whether they have the license or not. They only get a ticket. The only difference here is whether that person who is a scofflaw and has neglected to get their license and is being less than honest about it, whether they get to keep it or not. Because even if they don't have the license,
If they can state a mental condition.
if they state a medical condition,
Medical
they don't
condition.
have to show evidence of a medical condition. They simply have to state a medical
Right.
condition.
But Commissioner, my question would be also, how do our officers prove that what they were in possession of was marijuana?
Same way you do with an open container case.
Marijuana looks a lot different between different types.
You know, sometimes iced tea looks like whiskey and you make the case or you don't. But I mean, I'm just saying
They
that
both
it's, that,
definitely smell different.
that the standard, well, so does marijuana. I mean, not for nothing. I'm just saying the comparison you made is open container, so let's play by the same rules.
Well, I'm going with rules of evidence also about how we prove a case in court.
Sure.
And you have to have the
Do you,
evidence. So
use the
can't
evidence
just-
for an open container case?
Can't just, oh, yes.
I mean, the product, do you have a product that you use as evidence in an open
We
container case?
keep a sample of the product, and we do bring it to court if needed.
It's usually not a lot.
Yeah, it's a very small sample.
But there's
We've been-
usually an inch.
There's been a genesis of that. We used to keep the whole bottle, then we used to keep a sample, then we used to put
Sure.
a sample
And
in.
there was whatever's in the back room.
So, I mean, there's,
Okay.
but
There will be, as with any law, there will be some abuse. I still would rather not take somebody's medicine.
well,
That's just wasted time and money.
Yeah,
Ben, can I make one more comment?
of course.
Not everybody that has marijuana in this city, and this is my experience over 40 years, is using it for medicine.
Well, it's only been available for medicine
I get
legally
that.
for about a year,
But it's been a long standing since the 40s and, before then,
sure.
and it wasn't medicinal, now it is. There's a lot of people that are gonna take advantage of this.
There will be people taking advantage of it, and
And-
as with all things,
And
you
that's
have
wrong too, because then they don't have to,
right, but you have an imperfect system, and I would rather defer towards the folks who are using it as medicine and err on the side of not confiscating someone's medicine, even if that means some illegal user gets 1.5 ounce. Because if it's more than 1.5 ounce, it doesn't fall under this anyway, and you gotta take it, right? And this only goes up to 1.5
Yeah,
ounces.
it's possession of up to 1.5.
And-
And is it really essential if you get this passed? Could we say
Well, I probably
the
won't, but
officer will
that's okay.
not confiscate the marijuana? Do we have to say?
Medicine.
Medicine.
It is medicine in its nature, and this is
it's-
what we're talking about.
It's
Okay.
necessary
I know
for the-
based on a track record, we've treated it as something else, but it is legitimate medicine. We're talking
Okay,
about medication.
I know.
Yep.
Can we say medical marijuana then?
Medication.
Okay, medication, okay, very good.
Well,
Got
I
it?
mean, to be fair, Jonathan, the rest of the ordinance uses the term marijuana and medical marijuana. Can we,
So we've
can
already
we stick with?
stipulated that it's medical marijuana.
No, I
Why
just
do
want to
we-
use the same defined term as medical marijuana.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Chief, does that
Will
work for
you,
you?
will you reassert your second if I amend to be medical marijuana instead
That's
of medicine?
fine. I will-
Thank you,
but-
thank you, Jonathan.
Hold on, guys. In all fairness, does that work for you
to not seize it,
as far as the way we state it in the
Medical marijuana.
medical marijuana or medicine?
He'll
Because
apply
one
like
thing
that.
we don't need
That's
to
fine.
complicate the jobs of the officers.
I mean, that's fine. There are other certain medicines that we will seize occasionally too, if somebody has pills that don't belong to them, so it's not just all medicine. There are, I don't know, this is,
With more specifics, would it help the officer's job be less complicated?
not really, because I don't know how we're gonna weigh this at a traffic stop, how we're gonna see whether it's more than 1.5 ounces.
Well, I mean, you have to do that anyway.
No, after we seize it, and then it's weighed and put into evidence.
Sure.
But to do it on the side of a road, I don't know how we're gonna decide whether it's more than 1 ounce, 1.5 ounces. And it's a judgment call, I guess, because we don't furnish scales to everybody.
I think we need to table this and
Well, I mean,
look into it further.
I think we need to, I think we need to vote on it. I think the question will get relatively quickly answered.
Well, Ben,
But-
I'd like to know how, in court, we would be able to prove that somebody was illegally in possession of marijuana if we don't have it. Or if somebody gets, we don't take it from them, and an hour later they get stopped again, they're gonna have $800 worth.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's not doing them a service, right?
Well, I mean, it's an imperfect system, but you still do issue citations and get,
I didn't make this law.
I know, I know. I know it's not
Okay,
perfect.
okay, we have a motion and a second, so we can't table right now. We have to deal with the
Yeah.
motion that's on the floor.
Okay. And,
and I
and
don't-
I think, were you okay with medical marijuana rather than,
Yes, Carolyn, thank you very much.
Reasserted his second.
And how's this gonna affect if we don't pass this tonight? I read in here that August 30th?
yeah,
Well,
what are we
David,
gonna
if this fails, if this motion fails, which seems evident, we can simply make another motion to adopt it as Carol has presented with no changes, and then move forward that way.
All right,
I'd still rather err on the side of not taking somebody's medicine.
I understand,
But that's
but
okay.
I do not want to make it more difficult for the police. I think they've got.
I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. This is a nuance that's one of about 5,000 in our ordinances that's not that onerous to comply with, but such is life.
Okay. All right. Does everybody understand the motion? Amending the words as depicted by Commissioner? Okay. Everybody in favor, vote aye, and if not in favor, vote.
well, it,
So pass, so you need the
Pass.
emergency still?
Yeah, that's-
Yes.
I move the emergency.
Second.
Okay. Got to clear that out. Okay.
Now, if we don't pass the emergency, it won't go into effect until when, Carol?
30 days after passage,
So if we don't pass the emergency, there will be a
15,
15-day period where there's some vague,
yes,
okay,
there will be.
right.
May I ask one
Yeah.
question? Just a common sense question. If this ends up being a very problematic situation for the police department, can we come back and revoke what we just passed?
Certainly.
Okay.
We can always amend ordinances.
Well, now, Commissioners, to be clear, and I want to make sure this ordinance reflects it, which I think it does, if, say, we arrest somebody for possession of other type of drugs, if they have the marijuana, they're going to be arrested for that also.
Yes, sir.
Marijuana will probably be seized.
It's only, as my amendment was only under the issue of a citation under section C3 of this ordinance, that very limited circumstance that we have underlined in Carol's ordinance.
So if we stop somebody, say, for driving under suspension, which is an arrestable offense, and we seize their car,
Right.
Yes, sir.
and if they have marijuana and they don't have a card, then we're going to get arrested for that also.
Yes, sir.
And tell me the purpose of the emergency
It's,
amendment.
Okay. Ordinances go into effect 30 days after passage,
Got it, okay, got it,
unless there's an emergency.
okay.
And the state law goes into effect on August 30th. So if we want to meet the state law, we got to pass the emergency. If we don't, then it's 2 weeks later.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
okay.
Jerry moved, seconded.
Okay. Have a motion and a second for an emergency provision. All in favor, please cast your ballot. It didn't pass.
We're
Gotta
ready to
have-
move on, Mayor.
Yep, okay. All right. Motion failed to pass with a vote of five in favor, 2 against, and we needed at least 6. Is that right? Okay,
We'll deal.
all right.
It'll be okay.
Okay. Item 6.3, consider resolutions for support of the grant application from Garfield County Industrial Authority to the Department of Commerce for infrastructure improvements to GCIA Industrial Park located on 54th Street between Willow Road and Gary at US Highway 412.
Yes, what this resolution of support does is basically provide your support for a matching amount in cash to a grant that's being worked on with Lisa Powell and NODA, the Northern Oklahoma Development Alliance, and with the Garfield County Industrial Authority, which has a park, a property out on 54th Street, just south of the Advanced Foods Enterprise Drive facility. And what this grant would do is provide infrastructure monies to help provide a road, water and sewer extension there, to help make it easier to recruit businesses to come there and economic development. So it's a great news story. The city would need to match approximately $237,357, and in return would get $1.3 million in investment in the industrial park on 54th Street. The grant itself is for $788,000 roughly, and there's an in-kind match from GCIA for the land value of $288,000.
Gerald, where does our 200+ thousand come from? Where?
That hasn't been determined yet. At the point that the grant is received, if the grant's not received, then there's no money going to be out the door. If the grant's received, we would come back to you at some point and ask for a budget amendment. And at that point, we would try to determine where the money could come from. Overall, $237,000 in the scheme of our $100 million budget seems like it will be doable and worthwhile to leverage and get that $1.3 million investment in infrastructure. So I think it's a great deal. And NODA is getting close to getting the application ready, and they'd asked for this last piece, a resolution of support from the commission for that project.
I move the resolution. Second.
Okay, commission, a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 7, consent agenda items.
Move to approve.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 8, recess to convene as the Enid Municipal Authority. Item number 9, all trustees of the Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting are here. Item number 10, Enid Municipal Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 10.1, approval of claims in the amount of $176,444.71.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Adjourn to convene as the Enid Economic Development Authority. Item number 12, trustees of the Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting are all in attendance. Item 13, Enid Economic Development Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 13.1, approval of claims in the amount of $167,949.39.
So moved. Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Adjourn to convene as the Enid Public Transportation Authority. Item 15, trustees of the Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting are all in attendance. Item 16, Enid Public Transportation Authority regular meeting is now in session. Item 16.1, approval of claims in the amount of $3,197.80.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item 16.2, consider a resolution authorizing the acceptance of an agreement between the Oklahoma Department of Transportation, ODOT, Transit Programs Division, and the Enid Public Transportation Authority, EPTA, for a grant under 49 U.S. Code, Section 4311, Non-Urbanized Area Formula Program.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
motion, second. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 17, adjourn to reconvene as the Enid City Commission. Item number 18, public comments. We have one signed up. Ms. Lebeck.
Thank you once again for pronouncing my name correctly.
Okay.
Diane Levesque, 1324 West Oak Avenue. I've got a lot to run through in the side of 5 minutes. The first thing I want to preface with, though, is the marijuana thing. Point out to all commissioners and the police department that I've worked with people who were users of that before it became legal. As coworkers, I can tell you that getting the munchies isn't the only side effect. The other one is, in fact, memory loss. Take that into consideration with people who don't remember to bring their cards. I don't agree with Azil on much, but I'll agree with him on that one. Okay.
I'll take it.
It has also come to my attention that there's been a noble effort on some commissioners' part to do neighborhood cleanups, but I need to point out to especially the veterans here about the Open Meetings and Records Act. When you decide to do something that will come for a vote eventually on the city commission, you need to discuss that matter in public, study session, and the vote needs to be in public, especially when there's a quorum present at any time. I've had to explain myself to a couple of people already why my camera was still running after the adjournment of the study session. That's because I'm the one taking the minutes, as long as there's a quorum present and the city clerk has departed. Okay. A constituent has brought to my attention the matter of the Broadway Tower still being a white elephant. And I'll have to agree with him on that and point out as well that there have been nonprofits moving into the downtown area. So where's the profit in the downtown supposedly great real estate? The Broadway Tower is next to something that I've photographed since 2014. It says, "Move here, great location." And only when I recorded it today, it had one less window in it than it had in 2014. You might all want to get on the stick on that. Now, about the police, I'm going to return again to the theft ring that remains operational in Ward 5. This time around, what I've done is there was a blatant evidence of that in the form of a confiscated or stolen sign belonging to 10K headquartered in Medford, Grant County, in the backyard of 1304. And rather than contact the police directly, I contacted 10K and told them where to find their property. So despite the work that I've done with the commission, with the police department on everything I've observed with regards to thefts and, well, basically inventory shuffling, the ring continues to operate. And so we arrive at the word of the day, scofflaws. Anybody without a card with a marijuana card will probably treat that law the same as the people in my neighborhood treat theft. And that is, they know that they can get away with it. Who and what army is going to stop this? Because the police aren't. And we're back to the dog thing. Because, let's see, if I remember the article in the newspaper about cats and the leash law, if you feed a feral cat, it's basically yours and you're responsible for it. Well, Mr. Gilbert, I gave you one address of a repeat offender of 510 North Taylor, which seems to have been frequenting the yard of 1309 rather frequently, and the lady that lives there is aiding and abetting the repeat offender, which has been running daily without a collar, without a license, and always without a leash. And if that person had been fined what is on the record books every day since last year that he's let that dog run loose, you could probably build a brand new animal control facility or a wing or a major updates. What we don't have in my neighborhood anymore is regular patrol, and I insist that the police do more frequent patrols on this. The one thing I don't want to do is ask animal control for a trap, because on more than one occasion, this person has threatened me just for taking video recordings of every time him and his dog have run loose. But as I said on previous occasions, they're not the only dogs that use my yard as a latrine. I still refuse to mow dog poo. So when you're all considering cleaning up neighborhoods, clean up the dog situation, eh? Okay.
Okay.
I know I'm at the end of my 5 minutes, but I've now arrived at the praise that Gerald Gilbert has requested, if I may. It is pertinent to the art project, and that is Johnson Seed Company. I'm going to lift up Johnson Seed Company of Enid for the major donation of milkweed seedlings that it made to the Garfield County Master Gardeners, and I have to correct Romy on nothing can be planted in the fall. Those can, and I would join with the gardeners, the master gardeners, in volunteering to plant them.
Okay, thank you. All right, item number 19. Consider convening into executive session to discuss an economic development proposal pursuant to 25 OS 307 C10 to discuss creation of an economic development proposal to assist in bringing businesses to Enid. Because public disclosure could interfere with the development of the proposal and could violate the confidentiality of the businesses, and convene into regular session to take any necessary action.
Question, do we have to go into executive session to consider the proposal that we talked about at last executive session?
If you don't want to,
I think at least one or two of the commissioners did want to go into executive session. So.
Sure. I mean, we can't, it's just, I think we did it once already. I think all 7 of us were there. We can do it again. If we did it once already.
Yeah, no, I think,
Okay.
yeah. Alrighty. All right.
We need to do the motion.
Motion to approve the.
Second.
Yep.
Okay, motion to executive session and a second. All in favor? Mason, David Mason. Okay, motion carries 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Enid Television Network broadcast of the Enid City Council meeting. Replays of the meeting will air on Channel 12 and 112, including a live stream of the meeting at enidtv.org.